yeah, let's move on to something I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. Because for those of you who don't know, Viz's Weekly Shonen Jump has this cool thing where essentially they will translate the first 3 chapters of whatever news or most new serials, I guess. There have been some that I know were.
The some that they skip, but I think people should know this if they listen to the last episode since we talked
Did
about
we?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't remember. Yeah, guys, my memory kind of sucks. But yeah, no, again, well, you know what? It's everybody's first podcast. Who cares? Yeah, but jump starts are a cool thing, and I'm glad that Viz's Weekly Shonen Jump does these. I hope at some point they pick up one for serialization, because I think the magazine could use a few new series. But anyway, that's
Every week in the suggestions, my suggestion is the same every time. Please add Straighten Up and or Mononofu to the regular lineup. That is what I put in the suggestion box every time, every survey.
But anyway, this week in particular, I mean, I think by the time this comes out, its 3-chapter run might possibly be done. But anyway, who cares? I want to talk about the first chapter of Blade of the what is it called? Blade of Demon Destruction, or
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
They don't translate the title.
They kind of do in the little Nihongo lesson that they include in the in each issue of Jump, because they actually break down what the title of the series means. So I thought that was kind of neat.
It is pretty cool. I always like the Nihongo lessons. I feel like I learn a little bit more about Japanese.
I don't read them all the time, but usually when I do, they can be pretty interesting. But I mean, they're not as interesting to me only because it's not like I've never taken Japanese class. So usually when I do read them, it's usually stuff that I kind of already know, because I watch too much anime. So I usually pick up on a lot of like keywords and stuff that I kind of already know. But sorry, I don't mean to sound like a know-it-all, but anyway, I thought this one in particular was kind of interesting. So I don't know, like, I guess let's just talk about our general thoughts on the first chapter of this series for a little bit. Personally, I thought it was an okay first chapter. How about you, Sid?
I really enjoyed it. I thought that I didn't know what to expect going into it, but I was very pleasantly surprised by what I read. I think this is a very intriguing, engaging start to what could potentially be a really fascinating and incredible series.
See, to me, the art for this series in particular kind of reminds me of something similar to, like, or maybe not like the art style, but I guess like the general aesthetic, like the old timey Japan aesthetic of it kind of sort of reminded me of something like Mushishi. Like this particular art style isn't something I usually see used with a lot of in a lot of Jump series. Like this looks like something that you would probably find in like in a seinen magazine or something that runs like I don't know what you would call it, like something akin to, like, I guess something by Naoki Urasawa. Like, it feels like something that belongs in a collection of manga in which that also belongs, if that makes any sense. Like,
this is definitely not it's definitely not a very usual art style for a Shonen Jump series, but I think the series is also not a typical like Shonen Jump manga. It definitely feels like something that I think would be more like a seinen kind of series in terms of the concept.
Yeah, exactly. So would you be wanting to read more of this? Because personally, I don't know. It's weird because I wasn't like in love with the first chapter, but I found it interesting enough to be like, hey, I want more of this, and I kind of want to see where the story goes.
Oh no, I was very engaged with it. I'm really interested in where it's going. I think what I really loved about the first chapter is that it's like the main character, he doesn't have like any big aspirations. He doesn't have like a dream or something he wants to be like in most typical Shonen Jump series. No, his goal here is just to cling on to the one remaining family member he has and just keep her safe and protect her. He just wants to cling to the family that he still has left and not let her go. And it's more of a like moral and emotional like conflict. There's no real villain in the chapter. The basic conflict is just more of a psychological one. Is his sister even still his sister anymore? Like, is she more of a beast now than a human being? There's a whole lot of psychological, more ethical, like aspects to the series that I'm really interested in seeing explored and like developed upon. And I think that's really cool for like something for like a Shonen Jump series, which are pretty more straightforward in terms of like just their mindsets of good versus evil, or just there's a set bad guy or something. Especially for something that eventually is going to have like a battle aspect to it. I mean, there's the titular blade of Demon Destruction is not in this chapter, but I'm pretty sure based on the cover page he's gonna get like whatever this blade is at some point. And that's another thing I liked about the chapter, is that they didn't like just straight go to him getting whatever blade sword he's gonna get. This is just setting up the characters, the concept, and like the main conflict, the main emotional conflict, and like the emotional hook that's going to carry throughout the series, the relationship between the main character Tanjiro and his sister. So I found all that really cool and engaging, and I'm definitely really looking forward to reading more.
Yeah, see, what I think is going to go down is like somewhere down the line, assuming that this hopefully lasts more than a year, I would like to see where the series goes. And I really do hope this gets picked up, because I actually would like to read more. What I think might happen, assuming that the series, lasts long enough, is I think this series is gonna pull a Fist of the North Star, in the sense of, we're gonna have the more experienced badass character that shows up in the first chapter probably at some point take on Tanjiro as like an apprentice of some kind, maybe, or at least teach him in the ways of slaying demons or whatnot. And at some point, badass demon slaying guy's probably going to die, or maybe not even die per se, but at some point pass on, because I'm pretty sure the sword he had is probably going to be the blade of demon destruction, whatever, and it's probably going to at some point be passed down to him, or Tanjiro, I mean, possibly. That's how I think this is probably going to go down. But
looking at the detailing on the sword, it seems like a different sword than the sword featured on the cover.
It could so, be. I thought the kanji on the sword said something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, you could be right, or I could be wrong. I don't know, but I think that's possibly something that could happen. But I don't know. I don't know, but like, I actually like the way you describe it. I think I find this first chapter a little more interesting than more interesting than compared to after I read it. Because yeah, you're right. There aren't a lot of shonen that really like to dabble into that like sort of complex moral conflict that the first chapter of this particular series does, or at the very least not too often, because like you said, most shonen manga for the most part is pretty straightforward for the most part,
and certainly not off the bat. Like in the first chapter, there are shonen series that go into deeper moral conflicts as they go along. Like I feel Yu Yu Hakusho certainly did during Chapter Black, especially. But like to start off in the first chapter, like to not really have any flashy action or like or comedy or like any traditional like shonen fixtures, and just really focus on this moral conflict and moral question, and then set up this connection between Tanjiro and his sister, and then like have his motivation just be to like basically keep his sister safe and try and bring her back to normal, and not go after like not really go after like anyone for revenge or try to necessarily like be like some sort of hero or have a dream of becoming some super great awesome thing like Hokage or Pirate King or whatever. It's just this like simple, really raw, kind of relatable feeling of just wanting to cling to your family and like keep your family close. It's like I think I just really found that really cool and like and something really novel and something not done in like a shonen series very often.
Yeah. So what do you think?
But also like just to relate to what you were saying about like the whole mentor thing with the Tomokagiyu, the character that shows up and tries to like kill the sister. I actually did get a lot of Kite vibes from him. Kite from Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole scene actually was sort of reminding me a little bit of Hunter x Hunter's first chapter in a way. What with Kite trying to kill that bear, Gon was friends with him.
Okay, yeah, it is kind of similar to that. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, so I found that pretty interesting. So so I'm really interested in seeing where the series is going.
If you had all the power at Viz, would you pick this up for a continuous release in Jump, or at least an English Jump?
I mean, if I had any sort of Hattori in Viz, Straighten Up and Mononofu would already be running in this. But I mean, I hope they pick this up. I think that comparatively, compared to like a dancing manga or a shogi manga, this is a little more mainstream for English readers. So I mean, I hope that will sort of be a point in its favor. And if this series proves successful in Japan, I hope that we will see it here not too shortly after we get some confirmation of that.
Do you know which Jumpstart I would pick up if I had any power at Viz? You want to take a guess?
Jumpstart.
You get.
What other Jumpstarts are still running?
Well, I mean, any past Jumpstarts that didn't get picked up.
Buddy Strike.
Well, actually, yes, but I was jokingly going to answer E-Robot, but do you remember? Do you remember E-Robot? That was.
Well, I wasn't subscribed to Jump then. I only subscribed shortly after they did their third anniversary promotion last year. In mid-January, like they ran 4 issues like completely free. So I was really interested in subscribing to Jump, but I hadn't done it yet. So I read those free issues, and I really liked the layout and how the service was. So then I subscribed, and it's been a highlight of my Monday afternoons ever since.
You really missed out. It was
I listened to Weekly Manga Recap covering that series. I definitely is unfortunate I didn't subscribe earlier to see that kind of
it was pretty I don't know how I felt about that. I could have read more, but I knew it would have been crap. I knew it, but I still would have loved it. I don't know. I like stupid things, and I like stupid manga a lot. So that kind of stuff would have been up my alley, but unfortunately, I'm pretty sure at this point that series has been canceled anyway, so...
That series got canceled after, 10 chapters.
I'm not... Okay. Why am I not surprised?
I love how Ryan Brown on the Shonen Jump podcast always tries to bring it up, in some way. It's like a recurring joke. I love it.
That's pretty funny.